Hello, BookTube. Thought we'd do a nice, quick, sunny mail haul. Got a pile of packages here. We'll go through them, see if anything's interesting. Anything sparks the old interest. What is this? This first one. Okay. Didn't request this. Didn't know it was coming, but boy, oh boy, am I happy to see it. It's The Word is Murder by Anthony Horowitz, the author of Magpie Murders, which was terrific. Terrific. He's also the author of the Alex Rider stories that I love so much. It's possible that this is... A woman crosses a London street. It is just after 11 a.m. on a bright spring morning, and she is going into a funeral parlor to plan her own service. I love this guy. 6 hours later, the woman is dead, strangled with a crimson curtain cord in her own home. Enter disgraced police detective Daniel Hawthorne, a brilliant, eccentric man as quick with an insult as he is to crack a case. And Hawthorne has a partner, a celebrated novelist, Anthony Horowitz, curious about the case and looking for new material. As brusque, impatient, and annoying as Hawthorne can be, Horowitz, a seasoned hand when it comes to crime stories, suspects the detective may be onto something and is irresistibly drawn into the mystery. But as the case unfolds, Horowitz realizes he's at the center of a story he can't control, and that his brilliant partner may be hiding dark and mysterious secrets of his own. Okay, so this is another adult mystery on the lines of Magpie Murders. Fantastic. That sound you hear is a certain little puppy. She has a tough chew stick, and she chews it down to the point where she can comfortably hold it positioned in her tiny little paws. And then when she can no longer do that, when it slips out of her, when it's too small and it slips out of her paws and she has no leverage, then instead of chewing on it, she hurls it around. I swear, exulting in the noise that it makes when it hits the ground. And inevitably, when she's hurling it, she hurls it into crevices and places that she can't reach. And then I get the whole business of, could you stop what you're doing and get my thing so that I can throw it around? Anyway, The Word is Murder. Look, there's a cleaver and a pencil. Isn't that awesome? All right. Okay, we're off to a fine start. So let's see what we have next. Oh, and when does The Word... This comes out in June. God, a long time from now. Don't know that I'll be able to resist reading it for that long. Oh, another copy of The Word is Murder. Okay. Great. All right, let's move on here. What is this next one? Oh, great. Okay, fine. I requested this. I think this is a debut novel. I'm pretty sure it is. The cover struck me right away. It's What Should Be Wild by Julia Farn. But I also liked the description here. Cursed. Maisie Cothay. Maisie Cothay. Cothay. Has never known the feeling of human flesh. Born with the power to kill or resurrect at her slightest touch, she spent her childhood sequestered in her family's manor at the edge of a mysterious forest. Maisie's father, an anthropologist who sees her more as an experiment than a daughter, has warned Maisie not to venture into the wood. Locals talk of men disappearing within, emerging with addled minds and strange stories. What he does not tell Maisie is that for centuries her female ancestors have also vanished into the wood, never to return. But one day Maisie's father disappears, and Maisie must venture beyond the walls of her carefully constructed life to find him. Away from her home and the wood for the very first time, she encounters a strange world filled with both amazement and darkness. Yet the farther she strays, the more the woods call her home. For only there can Maisie finally reckon with her power and come to understand the wildest parts of herself. That struck me as really evocative. And I'm trying to see. I can't remember if this is a debut or not. I think it is. Yeah. This is a debut novel. Fantastic. It comes out in May. All right, so we're still doing fine here. But I'm in a new location. I'm out here in the living room because it's not quite as freezing cold, and the living room gives Frida more room to run around and destroy things. This just seems to be the only thing she likes to do. So let's move on. Let's go to this next one. We're doing fine so far. So we have what sounds like a very clever, intelligent murder mystery by the guy who did Magpie Murders, which was terrific, and which is surely I have trouble keeping track of these things, but surely Magpie Murders is fixing to come out in paperback. I doubt it's in paperback yet, or I would have seen it, but it's probably close to it. So if you see it, you should get it. Because it's one of those big, smart, generous novels that simply you cannot go wrong. And it looks like this is going to be along the same lines. And then we have a really impressive sounding debut. A debut that sounds like it's just going to charge straight into its own territory. That's what I liked about the description when I first read it, is that it doesn't sound derivative at all. But anyway, enough of the summing up. Let's move on. Any minute now, she's going to throw that nubbin of a Chewy toy someplace that she can't reach it. And I don't know what's going to happen then. I'm going to have to stop the video, I guess. But anyway, so this next one is Michael Fried. It's Fried. It's What Was Literary Impressionism? As Henry James wrote to Robert Louis Stevenson in a letter that serves as one of the epigraphs for this new book, no theory is kind to us that cheats us of seeing. Let's go at that Henry James quote again. No theory is kind to us that cheats us of a way of seeing. With this, he presents an argument for literary impressionism, the late 19th and early 20th century movement featuring narratives that, according to the author, Michael Fried, that is, not Henry James, work to vividly paint pictures in the reader's minds. If literary impressionism is anything, he argues, it is the project to turn prose into vision. But a vision of what? This is the pub sheet that goes on. So somebody really did a good job here, because you're intrigued already. And of course, if you pass this without hearing about it, I don't know that literary impressionism would pull you in quite so much as a young woman who plans her own funeral. Let's see here. The author demonstrates that the Impressionists sought to compel readers not only to see what was described and narrated, but also to see writing and the act of writing itself. The author reads Conrad, Stephen Crane. I knew you were going to be interested in the authors involved, so am I. The author reads Conrad, Stephen Crane, Frank Norris, Ford Madox Ford, H.G. Wells, Jack London, Rudyard Kipling, Edgar Rice Burroughs, and Robert Louis Stevenson as avatars of the scene of writing. The upward-facing page, often in the form of an upturned face, pen and ink, the look of written script, sometimes enacted in the appearance of a snake, and the act of inscriptions are central to their work. These authors confront us with the sheer materiality of writing, albeit disguised and displaced so as to allow their narratives to proceed to their ostensible ends. All right, well, this sounds like an incredibly intriguing mix of book about books, which I love, and I think all of you do too, and sheer eggheadery. so it sounds like an intriguing mix of the two. This comes out in April. I wonder. Let's check one last thing before we move on here, which is, are those authors considered in seriatim or by theme? No, all right. They're considered by theme. So it's not like there's a chapter on Ford Madox Ford or Frank Norris. It's a theme is followed throughout. And then the last thing, which is this big cardboard thing. I'm really hoping that Frida will consent to destroy this rather than just obsess about a Chewy toy nugget that she's going to hurl all over. I really don't want to be playing fetch with a Chewy toy nugget when I've got writing to do. Let's see what we have here in this. These vacuum packed things, I swear, it's like they don't want you to get the book out of the package. Oh, my. Okay, this is late getting to me. This is an October release in the finished copy. It's a graphic novel that I got an advance copy for it. Read it, absolutely harrowed me, and then I didn't get the finished copy. And I like to have a finished copy if I'm going to review a thing. I didn't get a finished copy and thought, well, they must be running low. I'm fairly small fry, so maybe they just didn't send one. But here it is. It's just coming to be late. It's by Pratap Chatterjee and someone named Khalil. It's a graphic novel called Verax, and it's about drones. The history of whistleblowers, drone warfare, and mass surveillance. And it's really good black and white artwork, really good detail as well. And it's about all of those things, but believe me, the part of it that will stick with you is about drones, and that's why there's a drone on the cover. I think probably they knew as well that it's the most vivid part. But it's a complex and ultimately extremely depressing, in a cathartic way. I mean, it's fascinating the whole time, but an extremely depressing account of this whole system, largely unmonitored, of assessing threats and administering directly punitive punishment, justice, whatever you want to call it, that's done without plebiscite, it's done without public oversight, it's done without any kind of visible accountability, and it's done on the books of the government. I loved it. It's all about how programs decide what to do with surveillance and whether or not it warrants a drone strike, and who's in control of that deciding, and what happens if some of the people involved in that deciding don't like the procedure. I wholeheartedly recommend it. It was tremendously good. It's a very rare example of a graphic novel that I wholeheartedly recommend, even though it does not have any Kryptonians in it. Ordinarily, I save my affection for graphic novels only for superhero fare, but not in this case. So that is it. That is what we have here today. We have Verax, which your bookstore will probably still have, and is well worth your time to look at. And then, what was literary impressionism? The only thing I don't understand about the book, I love the nerdy pub sheet. The only thing I don't understand about it is the book's title. The past tense of the book's title is, somewhere in this book, is it going to be contended that literary impressionism, as it's described, no longer exists? I think we both know that's not true. It'd be fascinating to see. I'm thinking that there's an equally long list of 21st century authors who could be added to those 19th century authors that we read. Anyway, then we've got What Should Be Wild, about a young woman who has the power to kill and to resurrect in her fingertips, and is suddenly loosed on the world without having any idea what to do. So sounds really good. Unfortunately, I mean, Verax I will reread. I've already read it. But all these others come out so far from now that I don't think I can justify reading them right away. I'm glad I have them. I will read them when the time comes. And then 2 copies of The Word is Murder, in which a police detective trying to solve a murder is saddled with the partner in the form of our author. How awesome is that? And there you go. That's a little sunlit mail haul for you. I'll sign off now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.